Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Season where the platform where we speak truth to power. Today, we're going to focus on the Niger coup, and I want you to know that there's also, the Mali they took coup and other places in West Africa. There is a change going on now. What we know as democracy, including Nigeria, is really something we really have to look into and understand. Is it really democracy? Or is it a version of democracy that is it actually colonization cloaked in democracy? Because the people who are controlling the puppets in many of the African countries, when you look at it, they're actually from this very same colonials who oppressed and suppressed us in our land. We need to wake up. The youths are speaking. Look on that picture. See the middle guy there? There's a military man, and the people in Niger are celebrating with them. Yes, we have to be very, very clear what's going on. You'll be seeing a series of shorts and videos where things are happening. There's even some talk about former President Buhari not being able to, go to Niger. But let's watch these videos and then we can maybe have some discussion about it. Here we go. Please don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to Season the platform where we speak to the power. As I speak to you, there is a small video here. Can you see that video? That small thing there, that sign there, it's reminding us as you're watching, please subscribe, hit the notification button, and of course give us a thumbs up. Really help us. We really appreciate your support. Let's carry on. You see the celebratory mood with people around them in Niger. They are celebrating the military taking over because of the corruption. And this is what I'm saying. The democracy that is practiced in Africa is actually colonization hidden. It's cloaked. It is colonization cloaked in the clothes of so-called democracy. And the kind of democracy that is practiced it's a crazy, banal, insane form of governance. Is actually a kind of autocracy, because these are puppets handpicked by Western leaders. And I'm saying this in all sincerity. Nigeria is not excluded. Nigeria is not excluded. We as Africans need to redefine what it is we want, how we want to do it, and who is in control on African soil. Currently, those who are telling us, oh yes, if you practice democracy and everything else, many of the people who are our leaders are puppets. They are allowing our people to be impoverished, and that's why the song saying, how long we're not going to suffer. We're asking that question. It's time we woke up. Mali is, I think Mali, the young man in Mali, I will show you the video of him if I can get that into this discussion as well. But I want you to see what is happening currently in Niger. So here we go. So yeah, I think that's is that no, this is in Mali, I think. This is Mali. I think it's Mali. Am I correct? Let me see. The flag is showing me something. I'm not quite sure. But this is in West Africa. So you see that now. Sorry about that. Let me just make that smaller. That wasn't my intention. So we will sort that out. I should have checked that a little bit. But it doesn't matter. What we're trying to do is to really get to a situation where we're just trying to get you to understand something here. 1 minute, we'll come back to that. So we're going to go and do that. Yeah, Burkina Faso. Sorry, yes. So ECOWAS should stay at home. Just in that video, it's talking about ECOWAS should stay there at home. Do not intervene in Niger and Burkina Faso. The people have spoken, and that is what is going on. And people are speaking up, and we cannot, we as citizens need to understand what is being done here. It is very important that we begin to understand that we cannot allow this kind of, injustice to continue on our land, and us as sovereigns to be oppressed and suppressed by those who have the very people, the very people that have you know, who have actually colonized and oppressed us for thousands of years. Enough of this nonsense. We need to wake up. So let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it now. So now we're going to listen to this. I want you to hear certain things, and this is what I was trying to do. We're going to be showing you, this is Burkina Faso, the president of the current military leader in Burkina Faso. And you need to understand certain things. He's going to speak in French, and he's going to be asking profound questions, and I want you to really listen to it. And that is where, you know, we need to really be very clear about what we're trying to do here and what it is we are trying to, what is we are saying to ourselves. So here is a video. I want you to listen to this video. Again, you know, in the same vein. Here we go. So listen to this video.
Les questions que mes générations se posent sont les suivantes, si je peux me résumer. C'est de ne pas comprendre comment l'Afrique, avec tant de richesses sur notre sol, avec une nature généreuse, de l'eau, du soleil en abondance, l'Afrique est aujourd'hui le continent le plus pauvre. L'Afrique est un continent affamé. Et comment se fait-il que les chefs d'État traversent donc le monde à mendier? Voici des questions que nous nous posons et que nous n'avons pas de réponse jusque-là.
Yes.
Nous avons l'occasion de tisser de nouvelles relations. Et j'espère que ces relations puissent être les meilleures pour donner un meilleur avenir à nos peuples. Pour ce qui concerne le Burkina Faso, aujourd'hui nous sommes confrontés depuis plus de 8 ans à la forme de manifestation la plus barbare, la plus violente du néocolonialisme, de l'impérialisme. L'esclavage qu'on tend encore à nous imposer.
There you go. I want you to listen to the words at the back there, what he said there. Slavery is still, slavery still has to impose on us. That's what they're saying. Let me go back again. Go back again. I want you to listen to this bit here. From the, you know, listen to this now. 1 second. With the most barbaric and most violent, okay? This is speaking in French, but you know, it's been translated.
Du néocolonialisme,
Form
de
of colonialism and imperialism.
L'esclavage qu'on tend encore
Slavery
à
still
nous
has
imposer.
to impose on us. So, very, very important point that's been made there. That is the Burkina Faso young president. And these are things that we have all too often ignored. So I'm trying to show you a series of videos. So do beg your pardon if I'm flipping between shots. But I'm trying to find you a wide range of information, and I will make, you know, obviously you will see the shots as and when we could proceed. The song still is very relevant. How long? We need you to be thinking to yourselves, for yourselves, you know. And we need to really understand that who we are. We've been hidden. So many things have been hidden from us as Africans, you know, and we need to wake up. Now, let me just see how we can put this together for you. We are continuing to make sure, and we need to make sure that the French and whoever else do not come and dictate to Africans in African soil. I'm yet to see any African dictating to Europe about what Europe does on a European soil. So why should we allow that? Why should we accept that? Why should we as Africans continue to be subservient to the very people that colonize and continue to colonize our minds? Many of us are waking up. Great. We need to understand that on our land, we are collectively sovereigns. We need to exercise the collective sovereignty as citizens, as independent people, as people, the first people of this world. They don't want you to know that, but these are facts. So, I mean, the threats made by Macron, you know, about going to, you know, invade Niger, you know, where they exploit the mineral resources and impoverish the very people. Those threats, we need to resist it. So you'll see in a series of videos shortly. So let's watch on. You see, many military officers sacked President Bassoum's in fresh Niger coup. And the question is, Nigeria is next. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think what we need to do in Africa and in Nigeria, particularly right now, within the current constitution, I'm going to put that in slowly, slightly in the middle of it. We need to exercise the powers we currently possess. And no ifs and buts, no have measures on this. I'm advocating for the citizens to exercise their sovereignty as written within that fraudulent 1999 constitution. We are sovereign, and I want to refresh your mind about that. So that's where this is, that's where this plays a role in it. Let me just get that information out to you. 1 second. So let's find this for you, because these are things that we have all too often ignored. Oh, here we are. Got it. Here we go. So, as you're watching this video, you can see something above me, and that is telling you, and I will bring it back into it. I'm glad I didn't know it was there, but I'm showing you that. So now, what it is showing you, specifically, this is specifically targeted at Nigerians. You need to understand something. You don't need to protest. What you need to do is to exercise your powers of sovereignty, as stated under Section 14.2a. In the section that you see above my head on the screen, it says, sovereignty. I'm not even looking at it. I'm saying it off here because I know it. I need you to remember the words, begin to say it in your community. Own it, because it is your power, and here is an opportunity for you to come together within your community to begin to use those powers. Because without using those powers of sovereignty, corruption, mass killings, oppression, impoverishment will continue. Your government cannot be trusted because they are being controlled. They are puppets. Many of those in government now in many West African countries, they are puppets. We, the people who have suffered, we are blessed with abundant resources. We have been impoverished by those handpicked by the colonials to oppress and suppress us in our land. And we need to work together to put a stop to this nonsense. It is unjust. It is unfair. We, the citizens, we have suffered eons for thousands of years, and not eons, from these people. Hundreds of years settling in the last 200, 300 years. Our resources have been carted away and used to improve the life of others, whilst at the expense of ours on our own African soil. And it's time we woke up. It really is time we woke up. So, as the largest country in Africa, Nigeria, the people with over 200 million impoverished right now, over 200 million impoverished. What we need to do is to begin to alert those who are impoverished by the very hand-picked puppets to be aware of the powers they possess. And that's why we're doing this program. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives its powers and authority. You can see it on the screen. Follow the words I'm saying. I'm not even reading it. I'm just telling you because I know it. I need you to know it, and I need you to demonstrate that power within your community. Not in a violent sense, but holding those you elect your office to account. Up to date, we have never held them to account. We've led them. They make empty promises. They know that for as long as they don't let us know we are sovereign, they can do whatever they want to us. They hold us to ransom in our own land. Enough of that. Now, secondly, to use the powers of sovereignty, we need to participate in our governance. That means we need to be monitoring our governance front and center, left and right, everywhere. We need to be watching their actions, and we need to be participating on a daily basis in our governance. So when they tell you they're going to fix the road, we want to know how much they're going to use to fix it, who is fixing it, how it's been monitor the development, question them at every level, and make sure that they come down, and we demand town hall meetings, regular town hall meetings with elected officials to explain to us where the funds are going, why things are not being done, and they have to provide where the funds have gone. These are the kind of things we need to do. So, Section 14.2c. The participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Now, this section is specifically targeted at Nigerians. You need to know that you're a sovereign, as currently stated in the constitution, and I put it on the screen. You need to use those powers. So we'll come back and talk about that later on. But specifically targeted at Nigerians, we need to exercise our powers of sovereignty. No ifs, no buts. Going to the church to pray or to any mosque, they are putting you are willingly allowing yourself to be stripped of your powers by your government, because your government are promoting these religions to keep you blinded from knowing that you're a sovereign and you have powers to hold them to account. Without using those powers, you cannot hold your governors to account, specifically in Nigeria. Let's go on to the other parts of Africa that we can see many of the videos. So this video is in Niger. You can see that the people are out on the streets supporting the military. Now, we've got to be very, very careful. We need to make sure that the military who are there, they are not infiltrated by other forces trying to take over Africa. Africa must be supporting and benefiting Africans principally. Just like Europe is there principally to benefit Europeans. Africa has never benefited Africans because those who have been colonizing us have been exploiting our resources and impoverishing our people. Millions of Africans have been killed at the hands of the colonizers. And they are continuing to they've now engineered the system whereby we now turn on each other, killing ourselves. And we need to recognize that fact and begin to work to actually counter those moves and wake our people up. Because we are truly blessed as a continent, and it is time we start reaping the benefits of those blessings as collectively. We need to do that collectively. Now let's carry on.
Why? Cette année vous avez travaillé. C'est bon pour vous cette année. C'est bon. Serrez, hein?
Because many people in Niger, they've now seen that those elected officials, they are puppets. They are puppets of the West. You will see now that the West are trying to say, oh, no, it's my puppet. Oh, we want you to fight for democracy. No, it's not. We've got to be very, very clear. When they're saying restore back the people, they are controlling Africa. We need to understand that. We need to actually be in control in Africa. So we do have to be careful that the military that are there now, they are also once they're up and running, they are accountable to the people. That is the most important thing. Because if they become accountable to themselves, then they are dictatorships. And of course, again, we keep going round and round in circles. We need to break the cycle of oppression and suppression by the colonizers on our lives. We need to break that cycle. So I support many in that respect. I'm very, very cautious in terms of the military. We've got to be very clear what agenda, and those agendas has to be stated out in terms of what their plan is. The Mali president spoke eloquently that we're still under colonization, and the young, we have to allow them to speak up, but we need to come up with cogent plans to make sure that our people benefit from our resources, and this cycle of violence that has been propagated by the colonials to keep Africans divided, we put an end to it. We really need to do that because Africa, West Africa, as you can see, is under their focus. The resources there is what they're coming for. We are facing the powers of recolonization, trying to recolonize Africa, and we need to stand up and not allow that to happen. We want partners to work with us in Africa, but not to exploit us and impoverish us in our own land and telling us, oh, we're in the name of their good governance, quote unquote, their lies that they dress up as good governance. We need to wake up. Just look at the roads there. That's why. If you see that, look at the roads. If you look on the floor, it's wet, it's bad, because those who the West put there, they want them to continue to extract our resources at death cheap prices, as said by Howard Nicholas. Go and do your research. That name, Howard Nicholas, he said it. And I might even get a picture of that video into this broadcast to make you understand that we are under constant oppression and colonization. We're not free in Africa. We're not free. We need collectively to wake up, to begin to do the work we need to do to free ourselves. With the 30% of the world's resources is in Africa. We are blessed beyond compare. It is time we start benefiting and our people start benefiting. There's a lot of work for us all to do. And those who we call leaders now, we need to have a really look at that. Now we're hearing. Anyway, let me let this go forward, then we'll come back again. So let's play what is now. See, there you see people stoning stoning so-called leaders, and they're having to run for cover in Niger, I think. Let's go on. See that? See that? Let me just see. I think they've got something. I think he's got a handcuff on him. I'm not quite sure. See, they're chasing. You see that? They're chasing. You see that? So I'm not saying I support violence. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying this is what when people have been oppressed for so long in their land, they need to start taking control. Africa, we need to rise up collectively together and take control in our land. For too long, we've allowed colonizers to take over our resources. In the name of democracy, they've taken over our resources, something they would never allow Africans to do on European soil. We need to be very, very clear about that. This thing about, just work together. Work together in what sense? What is being done? We are being exploited as Africans in Africa, and we need to start enjoying our own resources. And this is what it's about. We need to make sure that we, the people of Africa, will benefit first and foremost for our resources, have a quality of life that will be second to none because of by dint of the fact of resources we possess. And it's time that partners we welcome, but we are not going to be, nobody's going to be, we should not allow anybody to be exploiting us at the expense of our own people. That is self-hate, deep self-hate, as currently practiced by many of the African leaders. Let's carry on. Now, you see here, it says Buhari is now homeless. I don't know how far true that is, but it's a metaphor saying that he's not comfortable. Armed bandits are in Daura, coup in Niger Republic, London is not home. But anyway, just to there might be some truth in it. Now, look at the flag there. So the Niger flag is being held at the same time with the Russian flag. Russia has been consistently trying to be of help to Africa. Again, we have to watch Russia and China. We got to be very, very clear. Our focus as people must be how to ensure that whatever agreements we enter into, the African people are the ones who are going to benefit the most out of any agreement we enter into. And in any case, Africa must stand alone. We must stand to secure our people. We must be proud on our soil. Our language, our clothes, our culture, our spirituality must reign supreme. Nothing else must reign above ours in Africa. Because in Europe, they support their so-called white Jesus. In Arab land, they support the so-called Allah, Muhammad. That's what they do. Now, they will know that both religions, they are versions of what came out of Africa. But that's not the point. The point is it's being used to control our minds. It is time we woke up. We, in Yoruba land, for example, we must be proud of Oshun, or Shogu, Oya, Yemoja, Oduduwa, and many others. We need to be proud of our culture and hold it aloft for the whole of Africa to see, and begin to be proud to wear our culture, our clothes, our food, and everything else. It's self-sustaining. What has been done by the colonials is to strip Africans of our connection to our ancient past. They know the power that we possess once we collectively stand together, and they want to keep Africa divided, so they continue to exploit Africa. We need to wake up. So, yes, good to see Russia coming in and support, but we need to be very cognizant of what does that mean. And we have to be the ones driving that situation, not the other way around. For too long, the colonials have been keeping us divided. It is time we as Africans come together and really come and solve this problem that we collectively face, and we've got to put a stop to it. Now, let's carry on. Now, so again, you see, I think we've seen that one where he's been. I'm not going to play that again. We've seen that before. So you see now, let's watch this.
C'est fini! C'est fini pour Tareya, c'est fini!
C'est fini Butareya. So that's in Nigeria. They said it's end for the Butareya, the former governor, former president, I think. That's the voice of the people. So we need to harness that power in a way that makes sense. And the military have to still be accountable to the people in this process. If the people are supporting that, then the military have to be accountable to the people to make sure that the resources that are beneath our feet benefit our Africans. It has to benefit Africans.
Why? Cette année, vous avez travaillé. C'est bon pour vous cette année. C'est bon. Serré, hein, papa? On est là aujourd'hui, on est là, serré.
So I'm just bringing you these videos just to show you. So there's obviously some burning of properties and things. I understand the frustration of the people, but Africa, we cannot continue like this. And as Africans, we need to begin to build systems of governance. And we need to understand, in Oyo Empire, we had a functioning system of governance that's equivalent to the prime ministership and everything else that they had in Europe. And we were in existence long before Europe ever came to anything. Okay, so we need to understand that. The Moors were indeed running and managing Europe to make sure that Europe became a viable place, for over 700 years, right? So what we're saying now is Africans, we have been in place, we have been in existence for thousands of years. I know for a fact that in Yoruba land, We've been in there within that place for at least the minimum of 13,000 years, maybe for over 100,000 years, according to some records. So it's time we begin to realize that the whatever they call democracy and everything else now, they are borrowed. They are things that we developed. We taught many in Europe. We taught Europe about hygiene. That's another story for another time, but we'll come into later on. But I want us to be aware as Africans. It's time we woke up collectively, and we must be proud of our culture, our food, our language, our spirituality. And we need to be in control of our own safety and security as Africans. So here we go. So burning of properties and things. See? So there's been... Unfortunately, what you hear is a generator in the background. See that? So let me forward it again. I don't want that one. So no, I don't want that. So that's not what I'm after. So, but anyway, listen. I'm going to come back and give you a detailed discussion about this. But I think Africans, we need to be very, very aware. We need to become very aware that as Africans, the colonials have just engaged in trying to... the agenda of the colonials is depopulation of Africa, continued exploitation of the people, and never allow Africa to unite. Depopulation, keep Africa divided, and never allow Africa to unite. And exploitation, continued exploitation of our resources. And it is time we collectively begin to wake up as Africans. Now, I'm not. I'm hearing that they're given. ECOWAS has given Niger military a week. The one thing I will say is President Tinubu, as it currently stands, you had them say it. They're saying that he lacks legitimacy because they don't believe that he won the elections. So you can see that there's a lot of problems with trying to posture and say, I'm the president of Africa, ECOWAS, and everything else. And this may be positioning by the colonials to use somebody that clearly was not, as got issues and questions to answer. Now, this goes beyond what we think in Africa, in Nigeria. If the people in Nigeria say, no, we don't see you as legitimate, there's a problem right there. So as Africans, we need to understand that when Europeans, when colonizers are supporting certain African leaders, we need to understand why. What is it they're going to gain from that? And that is what we need to be understanding and looking at. So, like I said, I'll come back and talk about this later on, but it is time that Africans will begin to arise and begin to look at things with a much more clear perspective. We will discuss this at length, but what is happening in Mali, what's happening in Niger and other places, Burkina Faso, all of these places, it is telling us that Africans, we were trying to take back control, and it is time for us to take back the control and begin to really make sure that Africa benefits the whole of all Africans first and foremost. For too long, Africa has been exploited. The people, the likes of the Belgium. The Belgian king, the king of Belgium, coming to into Africa, killing 10 million people, and yet when you they say to us that the person that was committed mass genocide remains Hitler. And the fact that our death is not acknowledged for over 10 million killed by the Belgian at the hands of the Belgian king and the Belgian government shows that we are not considered people, and we must acknowledge those deaths and many more. The Germans were also there, then did that. Let's not forget what Britain did in Kenya and in many other places, and so on. We could go on. The list is endless, but we need to wake up. So anyway, the song is saying how long am I going to suffer? So I will leave it on this basis, and I'll come back and talk about it later on. Africa must ensure that Africans benefit from African resources. Collectively, we must begin to benefit from our resources. The colonials has exploited Africans and Africa for long enough. Now we, the people, must benefit from our resources and for the first time allow people to actually stay, reach their true potential within Africa without having to travel outside. We have a mass of land, over 1 billion people living in a huge continent that is blessed infinitely beyond compare. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Season Wide, the platform where we speak truth to power. We are the military. We have to be cautious and make sure that those who are there now, they don't get corrupted by the same system that is trying to keep them out. Because that's what they do. They try and find a way to come in. If they cannot get them, they either get them out of the way and put people in. Compaore, for example. Remember what happened with Thomas Sankara? Thomas Sankara stood, so they took him out of the way and they put Compaore. So they get somebody within the system, and look at what happened against Patrice Lumumba. They put Mobutu Sese Seko in, and all of it is designed to ensure that Africa remains suppressed. Until date, nobody has paid for the crimes committed against not only Congo, but not only Patrice Lumumba, but Congo, the entire people of Congo. And those countries involved in the assassination, they have not borne any price. Until today, they are exploiting the resources of Congo. They've kept Congo divided. So Africans, we need to wake up. There's a lot of work to be done on this area. The kind of leadership we need in Africa is going to be the leadership that puts at its heart the needs of African people on African soil. And the time has come for Africans to benefit from African resources. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Season Why, the platform where we speak truth to power. I know this subject has touched on a range of issues. Talked about colonization, talked about exploitation, talked about our resources, talked about the need for us to begin to work together to get the governance that works for Africans. And many of the ideologies that they're pushing on Africa is to keep Africa divided. We need to be very aware of that. Whoever is going to be partners with Africa, we have to be in control on African soil. Whoever is going to be partnering with Africa, we must be in control. They cannot continue to tell us what must happen in Africa, whereas Africa doesn't go into and interfere in any part of the world. Enough of this injustice. We need to speak up. It's time, Africans, we rise. Africans, the time to arise is now. You are watching Season Why, the platform where we speak truth to power. We're back later on. Please do share this podcast. You're watching Season Why, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. Thank you and bye for now.